So
No.
Worth every penny, though.
she brings up PolitiFact, right? So we'll focus today on PolitiFact and Snopes, both of them. Kind of like what we did last week with the Southern Poverty Law Center. For those who missed it, go watch the full show last week. Now, why PolitiFact and Snopes? Because Joy Behar just said, PolitiFact, PolitiFact. Like, they just say it. Hey, well, she said PolitiFact.
Must be true.
She said
Fact
PolitiFact.
is in the name.
Fact. Fact is in the name. There you go. Why would they lie? Why would a woman ever lie about rape?
Whoops.
Why would they lie?
Why would they lie? One of the first logical fallacies. Like, why? Okay, you want me to run down the list? I mean, I can think of at least a dozen off the top of my head. Now, we'll focus on PolitiFact and Snopes because just like Southern Poverty Law Center, YouTube uses for defining hate speech, Facebook and Google use PolitiFact and Snopes to determine what is fake news, what is real. So I think actually we can bring this up. I don't think Gerald has seen this yet. This is what Joy Behar was referencing. So it's just a sort of this totality of all of their fact-checking Donald Trump, where she's taking that and they're, okay, 95% of what Donald Trump says is false, okay?
Yeah.
So here are a few problems with that. You're gonna see me looking down at my screen because it's hard for me to remember all of this. But for example, you've heard there are lies, damn lies, and statistics. Well, statistics, obviously, if you look at them, if you understand how to read them, can be very important. They're pivotal. Yeah. But they're very easy to manipulate, especially when you just create an umbrella, PolitiFact, and most people are going there to just see the green sticker of true or false, or mostly true or mostly false. And they proactively, and Your Honor, I will lay out the case, you decide, they proactively manipulate their fact-checking. Let me show you some examples. Donald Trump made the following 3 claims that PolitiFact rated untrue, okay? Claiming he did not support the Iraq War. They did 6 checks on that. Claims about President Obama's birth certificate. Listen, it turned out he was wrong. I'll give him that. They fact-checked that 8 times. Claims of large-scale voter fraud. By the way, he's not necessarily wrong about that. 5 checks, okay? So for 3 claims, those are 3 claims, PolitiFact checked 19 times. 19 untrue.
That's more than 3.
Is how it registers. It's like a violation of double jeopardy.
Yes.
19 times. I don't remember him being wrong 19 times. I have it right here, Mrs. Bueller. 19 times. All right, contrast that. Okay, Hillary Clinton, some notable Hillary Clinton claims as rated by PolitiFact. She claimed that she landed in Bosnia under sniper fire. That was kind of a big one. Oops. 1 fact check. She claimed she was in New York City on 9/11. That was never checked. That was never checked, never fact checked. She claimed the FBI was fine with her email use, 1 check. So for 3 claims they rated untrue, PolitiFact rated Donald Trump 19 times versus 2 checks for Hillary Clinton, the same number of claims. Can you see how that might start manipulating some numbers? So let's get back to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton because that's what she's mainly using here. Some conflicts of interest right off the bat. PolitiFact is a project funded by the Tampa Bay Times, repeatedly has endorsed Hillary Clinton. Snopes, they hire exclusively liberal employees. I mean, you can see it from their tweets. They've nearly all actually officially endorsed Hillary Clinton. Yeah. Okay. They've also been inaccurate many times outside of the election. One of my favorites.
I love this.
PolitiFact rated, well, don't laugh at this because it's horrible. It's horrible. But it also is kind of funny. PolitiFact rated John Kerry's statement. If you don't remember this, they rated John Kerry's statement that we got 100% of the chemical weapons out of Syria. They rated it mostly true. Now, in their defense, they didn't say entirely, they said mostly true. But do you know how we know that it wasn't at all true? When Syria killed civilians in chemical attacks earlier this year.
Yeah.
They're mostly dead.
That's awkward.
Kind of a biggie.
Kind of biggie.
Whoops. And they never get called on this. John Kerry, these people never get called on their bullcrap. John Kerry lying to Joe Biden with Amy's Diner, like blatantly false. I get it. Donald Trump is not always accurate. Sometimes he flat out makes stuff up. The difference is they call him on it 19 times. Joe Biden makes up a place that's been closed for 30 years. Nothing. John Kerry lies about his military, nothing. It's unbelievable.
And it's like you can just keep saying this stuff and saying it over and over again. By the way, I don't know if you looked at the chart. She was even wrong on her own chart. Mostly true. There was a percentage that was actually mostly true. That wasn't categorized as false. Only 5% was labeled true, mostly true, somewhat true. Come on. She's even messing with the data.
And facts can't be biased by definition, but when it comes to what they choose to omit, what they choose to include, can definitely be biased.
Yeah,
when it comes
context
to these.
matters.
Right. The people who are combining the facts, creating the totality, creating a picture, it's very easy to manipulate people. That's why we always say, listen, we list our references on screen, sources, go ahead. Do your research. All right. So let's take that. They've been inaccurate. Chemical weapons, Syria, kind of a big one. Let's take this back to Trump and Clinton. Okay. So Trump claimed that the national debt decreased by $12 billion in his first month. Okay. Are you following along? It's a
big number.
Gerald?
Yeah.
You've been like
Very
quiet.
nice.
I don't know if you have a frog in your throat or something.
I do. Yeah, it's out now.
You've been making out with Jordan Peterson? You sick?
Way to start another rumor.
All right. So PolitiFact confirmed that the statement was true. But they rated it as mostly false. Now follow me here. Because they didn't think Trump deserved to take the credit for that number.
That's incredible.
PolitiFact rated Clinton's statement, in contrast, about 17 intelligence agencies concluding Russia was behind the cyber attacks during the election as true. Not even mostly true. In contrast with John Kerry's, my word is my bond. Mostly true. Hillary Clinton just said flat out true. We're not even going to question it, that Russia was behind the cyber attacks. They rated it true. But they go on in that very article to say that the 17 separate agencies did not independently declare Russia the perpetrator behind the attacks, behind the hacks. So if you look and you just see true, you don't read the fine print. And then there was a lot of backlash. Some would say,
I'm confused.
some would say, rightfully so.
Kind of a story.
They issued this statement from PolitiFact.
It's fact.
From PolitiFact. It's fact. It's fact. I saw it on Snopes. And Reuters. They issued this. It said 17 intelligence organizations or 4? Question mark. Either way, Russia conclusion still valid.
That's convenient.
A beacon of truth if I've ever seen it. By the way, since that statement, seems like they're wrong about that also. When it comes to Russia.
Waiting for that amendment.
So the point here, if people haven't added this up, is that PolitiFact is, they're not fact-checking. They're actually fulfilling the definition of editorialization. So in Trump's case, they thought that he shouldn't take credit for the numbers, which has nothing to do with the claim. Your site's design, the system's design, is supposed to be being able to determine whether the statement itself was true or false.
Very simple.
They didn't like him taking credit, so they said false. Now, in Hillary Clinton's case, they rated it as true because even though they knew that the claim was false, they felt that the connection to Russia, which was not valid, was still valid. So this is what's important for people to know because, again, when Google, when Facebook, when YouTube, when they're using PolitiFact and Snopes to determine fake news and the Southern Poverty Law Center to determine hate speech, and really if you're Ben Carson is a hate speaker, it's important because these actually serve as foundational institutions in our country that people assume have our best interests at heart, that people assume are being truthful. So when people use the term fake news, and I know it's been diluted, it's lost a lot of meaning, this is what we're talking about. A place called PolitiFact, blatantly manipulating data, claims, and statistics to try and suit an agenda. So